Hey everyone, today we're going to go over the new Guild Wars Reforged update. In this update, they added in two new modes, one called Reforged Mode and one called Dhuum's Covenant. I'm just going to pull up the patch notes real quick just so we can look at these in the background while talking about it. But yeah, let's get started. So the new Reforged Mode, just to kind of summarize what they're getting at on the page here, it's basically a new mode for them to test changes to the game. Essentially what they've done is they've made a feature flag. It's just kind of like a flag on your new character creation that says, I want to play with the new test changes. It's kind of like League of Legends PTR. World of Warcraft does a similar thing where they have a test realm. This is the same exact thing. You're still in the same world and same districts and everything with the regular players, but your character is in Reforged mode, which has some experimental changes on top of things. So it says you'll have your character badge visible in game. You can see in the hero panel, and I'll show you when we go to town here in a bit. These also show up in town. But yeah, you'll see the icons for both of these show up on the hero panel, and they also show up next to your titles, so that's worth noting. The first big change that they're talking about here is Piken Square is now accessible with Reforged mode players in Pre-searing Ascalon. So we'll go there here in a second. But if you look here, Piken Square, when you're on a Reforged mode character, you do not have to be Dhuum's Covenant, which is the hardcore mode, but a Reforged mode character, you basically can get here to Piken Square. So this is a new outpost, and yeah, we'll look at that here in a second once we've gone through the rest of these. Players gain 5 more experience and gold in Prophecies campaign. So this is, again, while on a Reforged character, if you look at the top left, when you're outside of an outpost, you have a new Reforged mode buff. This gives you plus 5 gold and plus 5% XP as well. And that's just universal, which is great. You would think that that would make things easier, but I'll get into it a bit more. That they're making balance changes. It's not necessarily easier. Enemies have lower health and armor in Pre-searing Ascalon. So again, we kind of looked around. We're only level 5 so far. Not really noticed where they've made this change. So this might be more ancillary in some of the lower quests. It might be the char, but it didn't really seem like it. I've done a few char runs where we farmed some of the char, and it didn't seem like they were changed too much. Down here, it mentions henchmen. Henchmen are not in pre-searing. Just note that this is not pre-searing specific. This is actually referring to post-searing. So in post-searing, the henchmen are now more powerful and have additional skills. We've not confirmed what additional skills they might have. I only got to see the level 3 healer. It was using Orison of Healing and healing for 40 plus the 10 Divine Favor. I don't know if that's different than it was before, but it's something we're still investigating. But that's where they've made the change, essentially, is in Prophecies specifically. The henchmen, they're known to be bad, especially Elysia, and so they've changed those up. The Northlands and Pre-searing Ascalon has additional spawns. So we're going to show this off right now, and while we show this off, I'll also show another change they didn't talk about. If we use this lever real quick, normally you would have to immediately run down here to Gateguard Torin. They had previously made it to where you could do this on your own, but there was still only a little bit of time left for you to get inside the door. And something you'll notice now, you can actually run down here, go into the door, and if you just wait around a little bit, you'll notice the door doesn't actually close quickly anymore. So it looks like they've added time to the amount of time that the door's open. And yeah, I think it's about 30 seconds just from like a spot check time. But yeah, pretty cool that they've kind of improved that a little bit for the free play experience. And that change specifically, just by the way, it seemed to affect non-reforged only characters as well. So even if you're not in reforged mode, it seems like there's more time to open that door. Since we're on Reforge, the first thing you'll notice when we come into here and into the Northlands, so we're just straight up into the Northlands, there's new mobs here. So there's Grawl Crones, you'll notice, and if we look around enough, there's a Grawl Fighter, and these are level 6 Grawl. It looks like this is going to be the new way to start farming for LDOA early on. Previously, you would kind of just farm bandits, and that would be the way you would get to level 7. There's now no reason to not come in here. There's so many of these here. You can see there's more here and more here. And something worth noting about these the Grawl Crones, the Necromancers, they have Chillbanes and Plague Signet, the elite skill, which is pretty crazy. So there's elite skills showing up in Pre-searing, which is just completely unheard of outside of the Barrage skill. I think the boss, when you leave Pre-searing, has Barrage, but these are the first normal mobs to have an elite skill in Pre-searing that we've seen. And we're just going to kind of try to screwed our way through here. If you look at my path, this is the safe path to kind of get to the new outpost. So I just kind of wanted to show off how you get here. You just run around like you would normally when you're farming oak hearts. If you're trying to level up, you kind of follow the same path. You don't attack these char. This is where the Ben Wolfson quest is. And let me just make sure I get through here, because I haven't died on here yet, so I don't want to die. Yeah, you come down through here, and then you go this way, and Piken Square is right over here. Hopefully we can get away from these. Yeah, you'll see Piken Square is right here. And before, if you go and look on a regular character, this is just like a hollowed out outpost. There's not really anything in here. The only thing you can see in here normally, you can normally walk through is these boxes. So yeah, we're in the new outpost now. You'll see tons of people here, and there's not a whole lot to note here yet. I think this might change a little bit as time goes on, but yeah, Lieutenant Greywind is here, which is interesting. There's a few guards next to him, and then there's another NPC, which is a new NPC as far as I'm aware. But Adept Mullinix seems to be a new NPC. From what we can tell so far, I don't know if anybody's gotten level 10 yet to be able to tell if there's a difference here. I think what they're gonna make happen here is you'll be able to pick up the Vanguard quests from the lieutenant there, and there will be new quests here from this guy whenever they get to adding new content. But yeah, this is the new outpost. This is Piken Square. As you can see, this now gives you direct access to the Northlands, so you don't have to run and do the gate on Reforged Mode characters. And yeah, getting into Reforged Mode itself, it seems, like I said, this is more of a test mode for them. This is a mode for them to be able to test changes. If we go and actually look at the character creation screen, something you'll see in here that is unique, and we'll show you how to create a Reforged character right now as well. We just create a random character in Prophecies. So note that Reforged Mode only shows up in Prophecies. So this mode right here only shows up in Prophecies. But yeah, if you hover this, it says hops into an early preview of Reforged Mode with tuning and content changes for Guild Wars Prophecies. So this is Prophecies specific stuff right now. This includes experimental tweaks that are still under consideration. So it seems to me like what they're using this for is to test changes before they move them to the main game. We are sharing with the community for initial feedback. Reforged Mode is likely to undergo significant changes. So this to me just says Arenet's here, they're ready to make changes, they want to change things, and we should expect that. So yeah, I think that this is a very exciting thing. You only see it when you hover this tooltip. They didn't announce any of this information anywhere else, as far as I can tell. So there wasn't anything on social media. They announced the modes, but they didn't say anything about them. Steven's not talked about them, and 2 weeks hasn't talked about them. And you can also see in here that the Dhuum's Covenant, this is the hardcore mode, shows up in here as well when you create a character. So you have to create a new character. You can check both of these boxes, by the way. So if you want to make a Reforged Mode character that is also hardcore, it's kind of what I would recommend doing right now, just for the fun of it. But yeah, that's how you do it. Is when you're creating your character, you need to check these boxes. And then just to show off real quick, if we go back out, if you create a character in factions, for example, only the Dhuum's Covenant shows up. So I think that this is part of basically that they're only making this Reforged changes and Prophecies, but they made the hardcore mode work for all of the campaigns. So yeah, you can create a character anyway for the hardcore mode. But everything else, all the test changes, all the cool stuff that might be coming, that's Prophecies only characters. And we'll just go back out and get onto our character while we pull up and read through the rest of the notes. So yeah, this is alpha. They're using it to gather feedback, and it's only in English. So yeah, that's worth doing for both of these modes. They've not translated any of this, so just keep that in mind. Dhuum's Covenant, this is the new hardcore mode, so if you die, you lose Dhuum's Covenant, which is a little icon. And if I just focus on the game real quick and we zoom in, you'll see people who have not died in hardcore have the Dhuum's Covenant logo next to their name. And similarly, the Reforged one as well, in town, you'll see it's next to their name too, so it's pretty cool. It's kind of like the Guild Wars 2 beta characters as well, where they have the little beta icon next to them. But yeah, this is a very cool way to display things. We don't know how titles look yet. I've not seen somebody with a title in world. When you hover the title, I'm wondering if it will also show the icons next to it in this menu. We know in this menu it shows up, but we don't know if when hovering somebody it shows up. So yeah, something we'll keep an eye on. Yep, going back to the patch notes though. Doom's Covenant is a challenging mode available throughout the game, where you strive to avoid dying ever. So yeah, if you die, you lose access to all of this. And then characters with it will have the badge. Upon your character's death, you lose the badge permanently, but can keep playing that character. Any titles you earn while on Doom's Covenant, the badge of the hero panel. If you lose Doom's Covenant, any future ranks earned for that title will not display. So what they mean there is in this menu, if you die, you will not have any future ranks have this little icon next to them. So that makes sense, right? You have to get them while being hardcore. And this is a beta feature. It's going to go undergo changes, and yeah, they're going to talk about that more. While we read the rest of these notes, what I will do is I will create a new character, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to die on a Doom's Covenant character. So we'll just create a quick character in Prophecies. Actually, let's make a Ranger. Oops, this is not Prophecies. We'll make our Ranger. We'll activate both modes, and we'll just give it a random name. But yeah, while we go set up the death for this character, we will go ahead and read through the rest of these. 4-player parties in Pre-searing Ascalon. So this is actually a pretty big change that's, I think, to the wider game as well. You now no longer are limited to 2 people in Pre-searing. So if you have a group of people you want to play with, you can now have up to 4 people all the way from Pre-searing. I think this is a great change. It does change up the balance a little bit, obviously, of char farming and all that, but I think it's only for the benefit. Keep in mind that when you have experience gains and such, it's still all split, so it doesn't really change anything too drastically, I think. And then, yeah, one more thing, the classic free game backgrounds. I'll show these off in a second, but you'll notice in the options menu, if you hit F11, there is a new drop-down called Pre-game Scene, and you can set it to Prophecies, Factions, Nightfall, or Eye of the North. And like I said, I'll show that off in a second. We're going to go ahead here. We're going to attack these scale and die, just so you can see what it looks like when you die with Doom's Covenant mode. Give it a second here. Turn her back to him, and we'll move a little just to kind of get them to crit on us occasionally. Or they won't crit at all. Yeah, as far as I can tell, stuff like the scales and such has not changed, but we don't really know what changes they made there because they didn't really document them. So yeah, you'll see I died, and now Doom pops out, and boom, you get sliced. Covenant broken. You'll see in chat it says Beans McBeanie has fallen, betraying their oath to Doom. Their mark of the Unfallen has been permanently lost, and you get this debuff in the top left of your screen. I think this just prevents you from gaining more stuff, more titles, and such while outside of that town instance. Once you go back in, this gets removed, and you never see that again. But yeah, you'll notice now on this character, it no longer has the Doom icon next to its name, so it's no longer able to get that title. And that's really cool. So yeah, it's an official hardcore mode now. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to go into. I'm going to make a separate video on some features I'd like to see. One small thing I think I'd add to this real quick, since we're seeing them show up, put elite skills on mobs in pre-searing, I think that changing around where elite skills are available is a great start to the game. Great start to this mode. I think they should move elite skills to Maguma or to Lion's Arch area and start allowing you to cap them there. I think that would make a lot of sense. Maybe even to Gates of Credit's mission or whatever. I think it's D'Alessio is the one right after Lion's Arch. Whatever the mission is after Lion's Arch. That's when you get your first capture signal. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're going to be doing more videos on these new updates as they come out. And yeah, everybody take care.